Uber Trenado is 18 years old, and in June, he graduated from Met West High School, a big picture school in Oakland, California. Uber lives in East Oakland, in a rented duplex with 6 siblings and his mother. A few years ago, his father was deported to Mexico.
Other things that I've noticed is like a lot of violence in my community, a lot of drive-bys and killings, shootings. Over there on Seminary and E17 and E16, that's where all the shootings mostly happen, by the liquor store. So I think it's about hopelessness, what causes the violence. People not seeing further than the darkness, or a lot of people who don't own their homes. A lot of people who are, what I say, are nomads. They move around Oakland a lot. I think that really affects how you take ownership of your community, whether a person owns their home.
This observation about the connection between home ownership and ownership of the community isn't something that Uber's made up on the spot. In fact, it's this insight that shaped Uber's senior year at Met West, and it's a theme that can be traced back to a map.
As a little kid, like I've always wanted to travel. I used to look at a map and just think where things were. I wanted to get it to meet people from different places of the world, and I never thought I was going to travel. I used to think like, oh, I cannot travel. Like, I'm a young boy from East Oakland, and especially where I'm from. Traveling, I've been able to see that our struggle is not only here, the struggle of the low-income people, but I've seen that struggle in Thailand, in Chile, in Mexico. Just the same way, different people. I see education as a way to kind of overcome these obstacles and eliminate like hunger, if we're talking in the context around the world, or in the local context, eliminate violence, because that's really what's affecting my community.
There's a proverb that says, "He who travels learns." This fall, Uber began a whole new journey. With scholarships from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push Coalition, Uber enrolled as a freshman at UC Berkeley.
I know that I'm going to go out to college and know where I'm from and know what I want to study too. After I graduate from college, which is going to be like hopefully 4 years from now, I want to come back prepared with more resources or more better like background and a better sense of how I can serve my community and how. I think that's a big question, like how I can serve it. And I think that's one of the questions that I'm going to be asking for the next 4 years or even lifetime, to see how I can help the community that I grew up in.
Whoa, that was 7 years ago. Time flies. And I'm happy to still be here. I'm happy to still see very familiar faces. And I'm very, very grateful to be here this evening. For me, it's very emotional to see that, because for me to get to this place where I am now, it's taken a lot of work, a lot of personal, overcoming personal challenges. And 7 years ago, I told myself that I would, after I graduated college, I would come back to my community and that I will come back to serve in some capacity. Back then, I didn't know that I wanted to teach. Currently teaching 7th grade humanities in Oakland, in East Oakland. Not far from where I grew up. And I am very, very, very happy that there are still a lot of people and that I see a lot of familiar faces still working in education and still being restless in the task of educating. It is very important to me to tell my story. My story begins with a lot of challenges. I was born in America, two older sisters who were not born in America. My father was incarcerated half of my childhood, and I experienced a lot of challenges. My father was deported 4 times back to his home country in Mexico, and I suffered a lot emotionally. Witnessing my surroundings in Oakland wasn't that helpful. witnessing all the hopelessness in the streets of Oakland and my surrounding community was defeating my soul and my hope for change. I became very hopeful when I started attending Midwest High School and when I met Eve Gordon, Matt Spangler, and Greg Cluster, who are here, I believe, in the crowd. Amazing people. I was very, very, very disillusioned with my childhood. I was very, very angry. I didn't know that so much anger could be inside of such a short body. And I didn't know what to do with that anger. I witnessed shootings. I saw my brother get incarcerated for something he didn't do. I witnessed a lot of racism, but most of all, I felt the structural racism and institutions that were not doing their best to serve my community and to help me achieve my goals. When I first stepped into Midwest, that was a life changer. I had no idea who these people were. I had no idea what the program was about. But through internships, I immediately began to better understand my community. I said to myself, I have all these questions. How come I grew up in a poor household? How come my father was deported? How come all of us that are poor live in this side of town, but people with money live on that side of town? How come we don't have after-school classes? I had all these questions, but no answers. When I went to Midwest, Midwest allowed me to really flourish and continue asking those questions. Midwest did not judge me for my curiosities. I felt like it was a place where I could ask questions and explore those questions through projects. I soon became involved with local politics. My advisor, Eve Gordon, at the time, had a strong belief that I could go to college and achieve my goals. I also felt like the structures there supported me. Internships allowed me to learn skills, social skills, interpersonal skills, working skills, communication skills that I needed and that I need and that I have now in order to function in a school setting or any setting. I feel like me being at Midwest allowed me to explore my questions of why is it that people in my community don't vote? If they want change, why is it that we do not vote? I was very upset, and I had a negative self-image of my people. Even those who were born here, my family, my extended family, did not vote. So I felt very passionate about exploring these questions that had to do with politics and representation. I later went on to intern at the office of Councilmember Larry Reed, and also for the De La Fuente mayoral campaign in 2006. My mentor there at the time, was Libby Schaff, which is now the mayor of Oakland. I soon learned how politics worked. And I learned that a lot of people were disillusioned with the system, so they bypassed the system instead of engaging with the system. I immediately knew that I needed to do something to help out people who were in similar circumstances as I was. 7 kids living in a two-cramped, 2-bedroom apartment, living with a single mother who was on every form of social service, welfare, food stamps, WIC, everything. That wasn't enough for me. And I said, I'm going to work hard enough to vindicate my family socioeconomically. And I did that. 7 years ago, with the help of advisors, a really good college counselor, and a caring community, I applied to 14 colleges. I was accepted to 13 of them. And I received 11 private scholarships, one of them being the Gates Millennium Scholarship Program, which up until last year paid for my master's program, which I completed at Mills College. So for me, it's very important. Education means a lot. It's personal. It's a vehicle to get people like me, kids with big dreams, in very hopeless neighborhoods, to where they want to be. The Big Picture Learning Company, along with Midwest High School, has done this for me. And I'm very infinitely grateful for everything that they have done for me. Up until 2 years ago, I was having a hard time in college. Actually, 4 years ago, I was having a hard time in college. And I was still battling with these battles of my identity, who am I? And one of my former advisors, Eve Gordon, opened her house to me. So not only are these advisors and teachers at med schools really, really caring, great, but they are lifelong friends. They are lifelong mentors. They are lifelong advisors. And I am here to talk about how great they are. And I'm here to let you know that one day, many years ago, there was a kid in East Oakland in a 2-bedroom apartment dreaming really big, having huge dreams. And tomorrow you are going to Midwest, some of you. And that's a very special place for me because of everything that happened in that incubator, I call it. Very special place where I think you can go and ask students about their story, who they are, what their aspirations are, who they want to be. And I think you will learn a lot from what happens in East Oakland. I also want to talk about how the opportunities at Midwest impacted me in a very positive way. My junior year, I knew that I wanted to travel far, but I said to myself, how can I travel? I don't have any money. My mom can barely pay the bills. I had an advisor who said, don't think that that is the limit. Apply to this program. We'll find a way to fund it. I ended up traveling to Thailand and Chile to consecutive summers with a full ride scholarship, thanks to the work of those caring teachers and administrators at Midwest. I wouldn't have done it without support. Midwest came to me at the right time. People say things happen for a reason. Things do happen for a reason. Midwest came to my life at the time where I was giving up on myself and where I was at a point where I was like, I'm done. This world is not for me. This world doesn't like me. This world is not going to help me get to where I want to get. So why should I try? I got into this space that was very, very hopeless. And that's when Midwest came. And Midwest allowed me to say, hey, I can ask these questions. And it's okay to be angry. And these things are messed up. I should be angry. But the biggest part, what am I going to do about it? So if I feel like my brothers and sisters and cousins are not graduating high school and are not doing things for our community, what am I going to do about that? And I promised myself 7 years ago, I'm going to come back and I'm going to teach. And I'm going to come back and be there for Oakland youth, just like my teachers at the med school were there for me when I most needed them. I think that tomorrow is going to be a very inspiring day for a lot of you guys. And I am very hopeful that you're going to gain a lot of insights into the stories and daily struggles that a lot of the students face. And I also want you to be there for the students and ask them, how can I help you? How can I support you? Because what Midwest taught me is that connections matter. People matter. I have my current job through a connection. I had my previous teaching job through a connection, through networking, through my skills that I learned at Midwest. And I want to leave you with my last thought that please, 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 always, always, always believe in our youth. Even when it gets hard, even for me, I need to check myself on a daily basis. And I'm from here. So thank you so much. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing. And please continue to support the Big Picture. It is a life-changing organization. It changed my life. Thank you.